It's finally here. All the parts. No. Wait. Find out how I was able to. Find out how I was able to do that. I managed to. Why is it so hard to speak in English? Finally, all of the parts are here, and I managed to put together a mostly stock full metal GM-2100. Find out how I did it. We're calling this mod the Manhattan Project, complete with its own made-up serial of GM-2100MP. The dimensions are the same as the GM-2100, measuring in at 44.4mm by 49.3mm. The thickness is 11.8mm, weighing in at 167 grams approximately, and a now standard 200-meter water resistance. All the Casioaks so far have used the same module, the 5611, which is a hybrid analog and digital quartz engine. Here is a glimpse of what G-Shock has in store for us, a full metal Casioak. Because no G-Shock enthusiast in his right mind would deny that this successful collection will have its full steel treatment. The moment I got my first GM-2100, I knew I was going to build my own high-end G-Shock. On my 6 1/4 inch wrist, it sits comfortably in place, but as expected, there is quite a bit of an overhang. Making this build wasn't really that hard to do. It's more of a matter of getting all the parts together in spite of availability issues. The first one I got was the blue GM-2100, which I pre-ordered ahead of the actual release date. It took about a week to get to my island, but it was worth the wait. Now I ordered a full metal kit for my GWB5600. I wanted to experience an aftermarket kit, and I was hoping that this 4th generation bracelet can also be used for the GM-2100. The quality isn't on par with the real deal, but it's affordable enough to be a temporary proof of concept. It also comes with a set of tools and screws, which will come in handy in the future. If I ever get tired of wearing this on the GM-2100, it will still have a place on my Bluetooth Square. The last one is the silver GM-2100, which I got for a massive discount from a very generous viewer named Alan. This model was initially sold out on the first few days of the release, so I knew I was going to have to wait either way. Let's now clear the table and put together this unique project. We don't need many tools to work with, but it's good to have all of the parts and drivers sitting within reach on a matte surface. The first order of business is to get that bracelet out from the kit. It's simple enough with quick release spring bars, although you still need a tool to detach it. Don't lose those spring bars though. Separate them if you need to on a non-slip mat. Next, it's time to gut this GM-2100. Unscrew the hex screws on the lugs and carefully remove the red plastic filler. If the bezel won't come off from the case module, it's likely that these red fillers were left in. Then remove the straps and set them aside. These can be used again for the surplus watch we'll have after the project. Now we have the case module ready to be used as our dial. Now we need to get that silver bezel. It's literally the same process as the blue GM-2100. Once you have the bezel, you can store the module and strap for later use. Note also that the screws are color matched to their bezel. Don't mix the screws up. Time to get the parts assembled. The bezel and module will be married to each other first. We'll fix it with some screws, then we'll see how the bracelet fits in. As I'm trying to install the bracelet, I already noticed how the lug holes are positioned closer to the opening of the inlay. This resulted with an unsightly gap between the case and bracelet. To close this gap, I will need to prop up the bracelet. I found that the best way to do this is to use the extra spring bars from the leftover links of the steel bracelet. So I dropped it inside the lugs and reinstalled the bracelet. It loses its articulation, but it closes the gap nicely. I'm happy I chose the G-Shock style bracelet with its rivet inlay design, but I wanted to take it a step further and personalize it even more. G-Shock is known to use their straps as a canvas for custom artwork. So I asked a local laser engraver to etch the Manhattan logo on the bracelet. It's not perfect, not even centered as you may have noticed, but beside the AWM-500 that also has some branding on the bracelet, it sort of makes sense. From this view, I can also notice how much more refined the original G-Shock metal finishing is. Another reason to stay away from aftermarket parts. As for the wearability, compared to another comfortably wearing metal G-Shock, the TVA, the overhang on smaller wrist is an obvious drawback. The two may look similar in lug-to-lug length, but the slight articulation that hugs the wrist is sorely missed from this mod. Hopefully, a proper GM-2100 bracelet will be released for the modding scene. The combination of the blue metallic dial and stainless steel bezel and band makes this such an appealing watch. It's just like how I envisioned it, a very stylized and rugged Japanese royal oak. The total cost is just under $600, including the aftermarket bracelet. It's reasonable enough for the price, but remember, there is a surplus watch that you can enjoy with the leftover parts. I love the results of this rather straightforward build. Most of the enjoyment I get is from how the case and dial carries the whole piece. The band's finish is raw and the shadows it creates are pretty shallow. It's a promising preview of what could come from Casio. But for now, this Manhattan project will do for me. We know it's only a matter of time before G-Shock themselves will release a full metal GM-2100, or maybe it's a different serial number by that time. But until then, I'll be wearing my Manhattan project. One take? Is this one take? Cut it.